All right, so we're going to go through a couple examples that are in the note packet. This is the 2.0 section, so we have to describe the transformations that are occurring. And so we have our parent functions, which are our original functions, and then the new functions, and we want to describe what's going on. So for this very first one of the things that we have to talk about is this 3 right there. If we have the 3 right there, it's a number on the outside that's being multiplied in. So we know if we look at our note packet, it is either stretching or it is shrinking. Because it's 3 and it's larger than 1, we are going to have a stretch by a factor of 3. Okay. And I don't know if I have enough room to write this, but we're going to try. So by a factor of 3. So that's one of the things that's happening. And then the other thing that's happening is this -6 that's underneath the square root symbol. Because it's underneath the square root symbol, we want to think of it as inside parentheses. So the parentheses group our variable with a number. The same thing is happening here. The square root is grouping that -6 with the variable. And so we know that it's moving left or right. When it's underneath the square root symbol like that, or inside parentheses, it's kind of like doing the opposite. So we think it's going to the left, but it's actually going to be going to the right that many units. So we're going to say it's going to the right 6 units. And then we're done. So we talked about the 3 and we talked about the -6, and that's how our graph is moving. For the second example, we have our original function, which is x squared, and then we have our new function. We have negative x squared plus 15. The first thing is the plus 15. It's being added onto the end. It's on the outside. It's not inside parentheses. So we know that it's going up 15 units because it's being added on. And then the other thing that's going on is there's a negative out in front, and we don't want to forget about that negative because it is important. So when there's a negative, we are reflecting. So we know that for sure. And this negative is not inside parentheses. It is on the outside in front of the x. And so we are reflecting it across our x-axis. And that's how the second one is being transformed. So it is moving up and is reflecting across the x-axis. For the third example, we actually have 3 different things that we need to talk about. One of them is the -4. So let's start there. It is inside the absolute value bar, so we think of them as inside parentheses. So we know that it's going to the right 4 units. And then the other thing that's happening is there's a 0.3 out in front. That 0.3 is being multiplied. Whenever something's being multiplied out in front, it is either stretching or shrinking. This time, because it's 0.3, it's in between 0 and 1. And so it is shrinking. So we want to say there's a shrink by a factor of 0.3. I'm just going to write shrink for now because I don't have enough space for it. And then the other thing is this negative. Ooh, I don't know what that was. This negative out in front. And that is separate from the 0.3, and that's going to be really hard to remember. And that negative, because it's on the outside, it's not inside parentheses, it is reflecting across the x-axis again. So we want to say reflect across our x-axis. When it does that, it flips from top to bottom. The very last example is a little different. We're going to start with this plus 208. That's being added on. It's on the end. It's not inside parentheses. It's not being like connected to anything. So we know that we're going up 208 units. Now the other part that's going on is this -7 in the denominator. And that minus 7 is special. So whenever we have parentheses, our variable is being connected to the number, almost like a group. In this example, the x minus 7 is the group that's in the denominator. And so we think of that x minus 7 as inside parentheses. So for this one, we know that it's actually going to the right 7 units. So this is going to the right 7 units, and it's going up 8. So those are the transformations for those examples. And these are the practice problems in your packet, so you could have followed along, or you can rewatch it and follow along and write the characteristics down as well.